What's going on, guys? My name is Adam, otherwise known as Lord of Wolves 92, and today we're going to talk about what I want to see next in Destiny 3. But before we really get into what I want to see, I want to know what you guys want to see in Destiny 3, so leave me a comment down below and we can talk about it on future videos. Alright, so starting with number one, I want to see some sort of crafting system implemented in Destiny 3. Now, we did get some crafting with the Black Armory update if you have the Season Pass. We saw a small sample of what we could expand it into, where you pick a weapon frame and you have a few objectives to complete that frame, and then you go out and you do a certain activity, and then boom, you have your weapon. But if we wanted to see that sort of crafting implemented in a wider spectrum, we could really utilize Banshee 44, who I feel up until this point has been pretty underutilized. So for example, we could go to Banshee 44 and he would be selling a common weapon frame, right? A white weapon frame. And then we go out into the world and we're actually using that weapon. It's not just a square in our inventory anymore. It's an actual weapon that we're getting kills with. If any of you have played Destiny 1, think back to Husk of the Pit, right? Where we had to actually use a white gun and level it up to legendary and then level it up once again to exotic. Think of that, but on a much wider scale. And you can choose, maybe one day he's selling a precise kinetic auto rifle, or, you know, he's selling a high impact hand cannon, right? At a white frame level. So you take that out into the world. It has a mod node on it where you need to go out and, you know, say kill 50 fallen, right? And once you kill 50 fallen with your hand cannon, your white hand cannon, you can increase it to the next level up, which would be uncommon, which is green. And it's going to have 2 new slots, and it's going to say get 25 double kills and strikes and defeat 5 guardians, right? So either in Gambit or in Crucible or whatever. Just it's having you go out and do different activities. But instead of doing it with, you know, it just sitting in your inventory, you're actually using this gun. And every time you upgrade it past common, it's going to put some perks into the perk section, and you can choose which perk to permanently add to it. So you're not always going to get the perks that you need in those columns, but you get a better chance of choosing what you want. And then that way, Bungie can still keep it curated, because if they don't want certain perk combinations to exist on the weapon, they just will put them in the same pool instead of into separate pools. And then that way you can't get things like, you know, kill clip and rampage at the same time, which you can't actually get. That does exist right now, but if they don't want that combination to be a thing, then they can still have that control, but at the same time we have control of what perks we're looking for. Maybe we want to see a Dragonfly Outlaw combo, maybe we want to see a Rampage Ambitious Assassin combo, you know, something like that. We can, you know, if we get to the uncommon level and, oh, this is the chance to get Rampage, is it in my perk pool? No, it's not. Okay, cool, ditch the weapon, and then, you know, tomorrow pick up a new frame and try again, right? So that would be something cool to see implemented. It doesn't sound too far-fetched in my personal opinion, but let me know what you guys think about that. Similar with armor, we could do something with armor sets where, you know, you get a white piece of armor. Maybe you have to defeat 3 strike bosses, right? Maybe you have to win 2 Crucible matches, right? And then you can kind of branch your armor from there. You're given 2 perks, and one, you know, you choose one to be permanently added, and then you move on to the next level, add a permanent perk, and so on and so forth. Speaking of armor sets, that's actually number 2, is actual armor sets. Now, Gambit, Season of the Drifter, added Gambit Prime, and with Gambit Prime came the Reckoning, and with the Reckoning came Gambit Prime armor sets. So you actually get bonuses for wearing the Gambit Prime armor together. And they do these in stacks. So you can get, I believe, stacks of 1 to 4, and each stack will add together, and then at the end, depending on how many stacks of the armor you got, you unlock a certain level of a buff, right? And you can see it very clearly in the video. Here's all the different stacks for the Gambit Prime armor, and you can see what level you need to reach in order to unlock those perks. Now, this whole system is, in my opinion, perfect. This is exactly how armor should work, and this is how more Destiny armor should be. Things for Nightfall armors, things for raids, things for Crucible, even just patrol. You know, maybe if you wear the EDZ armor set, you know, at stack level 5 or you know, buff level 5, you have a better chance of getting better loot out of chests, right? Or you get better public event loot for defeating a public event on IO if you're wearing the IO armor set that Asher Mir can give you, or something like that. Maybe you can only get armor set with these perks if you do a Nightfall on that planet, right? So you're waiting for the next EDZ Nightfall to come around so you can get the EDZ set armor helmet and hopefully get, you know, a 3 stack on that or something like that. So that would bring way more agency, I believe, to actually building up armor sets and crafting armor sets, while still allowing you to mix and match pieces of armor and still use your exotics, because you know, you can go above the level 10 limit, and that's where your opportunity to bring exotics back into the fold comes from, is the ability to still make, you know, level 5, level 10 buffs accessible without having to wear a full set of 5 pieces of the armor set in question. Now, moving on to number 3, I want to see more enemy variety in Destiny 3, and I'm not talking about just another reskinned race of Fallen, right? I want to see more enemy combatants added to the toolbox, the combat toolbox of the races that are already in the game. So we're talking the Fallen, we're talking Cabal, Hive, Vex. I want to see more enemies in that infrastructure. Just to give a few examples for the Fallen, right? We can have a Vandal with a jetpack, right? And he either jumps up into the air and he's trying to snipe you, or he jumps up and gets behind you and he rushes you down with dual swords, right? So if you're sitting in the back of the map and you're trying to snipe a boss and this Fallen, you know, has his jetpack, he's going to rush you like the Scorn kind of rush you. He's going to rush up to you and he's going to attack you with his dual swords, and he's going to force you out of cover, or he's going to get up above and he's going to negate your cover by being so high up above you, and he's going to snipe down on you, right? That would be a kind of a cool enemy to fight. It would be, you know, it would change up the gameplay loop, the combat loop, right? It would make you choose long-range weapons like scout rifles and sniper rifles for PvE activities outside of cheesing stuff, right? A lot of the times when you get a sniper rifle in the game, you're just using it so you can cheese a boss, you can stand somewhere where they can't hit you back and you can shoot them. Moving on to the Hive, maybe they can get a cool, you know, giant Hive Knight beast with giant slabs of chitin on its arms where it's invulnerable to damage from the front, but so you have to sneak around behind it to shoot it, right? Maybe it has, you know, like a permanent wizard field around it, so it heals its own teammates and it gives them an overshield. So while it's not actually attacking you, it's making it a lot harder for you to kill the acolytes who are shooting at you, or, you know, kill the cursed thrall before they get up in your face and explode, right? And so it's basically like a walking warlock well for the Hive, you know, something to make the engagements a little bit different, and maybe make picking your target priority, you know, changes up while you're fighting the Hive in the systems. And just one more example, I have the Vex, right? The Vex can get a small little shield drone. It's larger than a Forge Armory shield drone, but smaller than a Harpy, and it flies around and it gives random units an elemental shield. So it's not going to be an actual invulnerability shield, but it's an elemental shield that makes your elemental weapon a little bit more important, a little bit more impactful, but they're weak to melee attacks, right? So they want to get you up close and in person to the Vex enemies, who, for the most part, don't have a lot of close combat units in their arsenal, besides for the exploding versions. You know, they don't have a head and they're going to go up and explode on you. So that would kind of change their toolbox up a bit. If we take a look at the Scorn, right? The Scorn are an example of a great faction that has a lot of enemy variety to it. You have units that are invulnerable to damage from the front because they have the shields. You have units that don't have a head, so their critical hit spot is their actual weapon, that mace. You have captains that have different elemental shields and different elemental typings with totems that they can summon that also have different elemental typings that do different things, right? A fight with the Scorn is always going to be different because they have so many different things in their combat toolbox to use against you, and that makes almost all fights against the Scorn different and varied, if not very challenging, right? Whenever the Scorn are called in Gambit, you're always like, oh man, here we go, like, get ready to die a lot, because the Scorn are difficult. Moving on to number 4, more vehicles. Now, I'm not saying Destiny needs to become some crazy Battlefield clone where we have helicopters and jets and boats and planes and trucks and RVs and all that stuff. No, but what I am saying is maybe make our ship do something instead of just being a loading screen. Maybe, you know, give us, at least in the story mode, or at least in a strike or two, an area where we get into our ship and we can, you know, have some combat there. But more so what I'm really meaning when I say more vehicles is more actual larger scale battles that involve more vehicles. So even just turrets. I don't want to always have to be fighting enemies that use cover. Sometimes I want to, you know, use my grenade launcher on a really heavy tank type weapon. Even if it doesn't, you know, even if it's not an actual vehicle, right? Maybe the Hive have some crazy bio knight, bio wizard that's launching these huge projectiles from across cover, and that could count as a vehicle or something like that. Or, you know, the Thrall can merge with it and they can become one and they can go around and attack us, or something different. So more vehicles and enemy variety kind of go hand in hand. I just want to see more. I want to have more impactful fights and gunfights in the game, especially in strikes. That would make strikes a lot more fun to play. And then last but not least, more space magic. So I want more abilities. I want my Titan to feel like a Titan. I want a Warlock to feel like a crazy space magic person. A Hunter to be lithe and nimble and deadly. If you see a Titan and he's running at you, you know, sure, he can shoulder charge you, but his melee attack should do more damage because he's a Titan. He's got that fist, right? He's got more health. I want that to mean something in the grand scheme of things. And in PvP, sure, everything's got to stay balanced. I understand that. But really for PvE, they took a good step with giving us class abilities, but I want to see a little bit more. And it doesn't have to necessarily be built into the infrastructure of the class system itself. And what I mean by that is you don't need to add a fourth ability to Titans. They don't need melee, grenade, barrier, and a fourth item, but we need to see something that differentiates them. So maybe the Titan armor, you know, the shields absorb way more damage from enemy attacks, or they take less elemental damage from enemies of the darkness or something like that. The Warlocks could recover health more quickly, or they get an innate ability to get their health back upon killing or picking up an orb of light or something like that. The Hunters, you know, they're focused on agility, so they want to be quick and they want to get headshots and they want to do this and they want to do that. You know, you need to see more built into at least the subclasses, not necessarily the armor then, but the subclasses. So something to really differentiate the classes more, make it really be able to build out your player fantasy and your legend, right? Destiny's all about becoming a legend. Well, when you give me more options to play how I want to play, then I can really feel like a legend. Anyways, guys, that's going to be my discussion topic on what do we want to see in Destiny 3. Let me know down below in the comments what you want to see most in Destiny 3. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit the bell icon so you can know when we're going live, if we're playing, or if a new video is uploaded. And remember, guys, I stream on Twitch every Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday. So if you want to play Destiny with me, you know where to find me. All right, guys, that's going to be it from me. Until the next video, bye for now.